Alright everyone, Kamala Harris is an opportunistic grifting harpy and she's really good at lying. She's not really good at doing it believably though. If you're like a 6 out of 10 on the can read people scale, and I can read her like a book, it's kind of obvious where she's coming from. She'll say whatever comes to mind if she thinks, it's good for her political aspirations. So when she told an obvious bullshit story, and I'm going to call it what it is. This is a bullshit story. About how she's like a little civil rights kid, and she's like, her mom was like, what's wrong? And little Kamala said something like, I want Fweedom, or something. Fweedom is now a meme. Oh, come on, dude. She lifted that straight from the MLK saga. The MLK was talking about a similar event with a little girl who was not named Kamala, by the way, at the time. To be clear, Kamala Harris is not 70 years old. It's bullshit. Kamala Harris doesn't give a fucking shit about racial justice or any form of justice. She was a tough-on-crime prosecutor who has lied repeatedly about her record, who has lied repeatedly about her past. She's claimed, I was smoking weed and listening to Tupac in college. It's interesting because she left college before Tupac cut his first album. It's magic, so she's a time traveler now. She lied about that. Her prosecutorial record is abysmal. She was throwing fucking people in prison because their kids missed the bus with her amped-up truancy laws. She was a tough-on-crimer. Oh, but I'm supposed to believe, like, little Kamala, 20 years, 30 years earlier, was like, I was crying, and her mom is like, what's wrong? I want Fweedom. I want Fweedom for all of the black citizens in the country. You don't give a shit about your fellow citizens. Doesn't matter what color they are. Kamala Harris is out for Kamala Harris, and that's it. People want to throw Beijing Biden off and rig her in as the first female president without even the benefit of having her elected. God, what a free-for-all that would be. I just hope that the Democrats are insane enough to do that in the next year or so that it'll be blatantly obvious to everyone what's happening. The punishment in 2022 is already coming, but you can turn a tidal wave into a world-ending tsunami, potentially, and it would be very, very funny if that were to happen. Not saying I support the GOP. You see them bitching right now about how Trump lost us the seat against Warnock in the Georgia Senate runoffs. Yeah, the dude with approval higher than Ronald Reagan in parties, certainly not the one propping up your whole fucking party right now. No, it's Turtle Man, Mitch McConnell, because everyone knows how exciting he is. The neocons are fucked up, but the woke cult is fawning for her. This is such an uplifting story. She wanted freedom at a young age. What an American tale. A young black female. She was a real go-getter and, basically slept her way into the position. She was a tough-on-crime prosecutor. She really took care of those criminals. She's like Wonder Woman, or she's like Superwoman or something. And they make like these cringy cartoons of her and depict her as being like larger than life. It's almost like Joseph Stalin and shit. Joseph Stalin was, towards the end, basically a frail old man, but they still depicted him with shoulders about this fucking wide. Why do you think that had something to do with his ego and his own self-image issues? Kamala Harris has the same problem. Psychologically speaking, she's the sort of person who puts on the tough, I am woman, hear me roar front because she feels little. She feels belittled and inadequate. That's why if she ever is in the Oval Office, one of the first things you can expect her to do is to warmonger. I guarantee you that if you ever have a President Kamalaharris, you will have a major war. Why? Because in her need to feed her fractured ego, for whatever reason that happened, for whatever upbringing reason she's so fractured and so pitiful, she will seek to fill that gaping hole in her life, the pun not entirely intended, her gaping hole by being one of the big boys, proving that she can be just as vicious as all of them. Well, I can bomb with the rest of them. I can bomb with the best of them. I can kill orphans just like Obama did. I can kill orphans just like W did. Isn't this wonderful? I'm one of the boys now. And it'd be really funny. And then I'll say, I told you so. And all the people on the left will say, well, I guess it's brunch time, and they'll be all sour-faced. I'm riding high. I'm happy about the political chaos happening right now, and the thought of having Kamala Harris in there doesn't scare me so much as it makes me goddamn laugh at all the stupid lemmings that would possibly vote for such an outcome. As apparently this includes most Democrats that are actually in office. They seem to be insane enough to think that that's a good idea. Honk honk. The woke cult is oblivious, though, to the fact that she's blatantly lying. She's being called out right now, but the MSM's not calling her out because they don't do journalism anymore. Now you have to go to like Breitbart or Fox or something, and they're saying, hey, here's a snippet from a Martin Luther King speech that's like 99% the fucking same. Wasn't there an instance where Melania or something, they thought she had plagiarized someone else's speech, like a Laura Bush speech or something, and they went all livid and they were like, oh my god, see, she's talentless. She wrote her own speech, by the way. She's talentless and she's lying and stuff. Where's your ire at the potential asterisk Vice President Harpy Harris lifting Martin Luther King speeches and pretending she's like 20 years older than she is? And she was marching in the civil rights era. No, you weren't. You didn't say, oh, we want freedom and get all teary-eyed and stuff while the Star-Spangled Banner played quietly in the background and a single tear rolled down the Lincoln Memorial's eye. That didn't happen. That's just, look at her actions, not at her words, by the way. Look at how she's actually been the last 30 years while she's been in politics and so forth, and in crime and justice. Tough on crimer, severe authoritarian, goddamn stupid, making dumb decisions that harm people's lives when she's tasked with uplifting them. You know, I know that's not actually how the criminal justice system works, but that's the idealized version. She falls far short of that. It's sort of like a doctor. They take the Hippocratic Oath. The first thing they do is start sawing people's legs off for no reason. That's basically Kamala Harris. She's nuts. She's not really that good a liar. But when you're stupid, when you're one of the lemmings that actually supports her bizarre, weird fusion of tough-on-crime 90s neoliberalism and faux, feigned leftist reformism, if you actually believe it, you can't possibly be that intelligent. The funny thing is that these people tend to have little pieces of paper that they paid too much money for that say that they are a master in women's studies or something. They think that this qualifies them for understanding reality the way that it really is. I'm noticing an inverse correlation between living in reality and thinking you're living in reality. I'm thinking that people who are nuts, who realize reality's all fucked up, are the only sane people in the world, I think. Can't imagine that they like Kamala Harris unless they're so nihilistic they want the world to end. She might be crazy enough to bomb Iran, who knows? With her, I wouldn't put it past her necessarily. That's about all. Peace out.